In this installment, we're going to be going over the NBA bet slate for Friday, April 5th. Let's get into it. Hey, yo! Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for our Friday, April 5th NBA bet slate we got going on. But before I deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetShetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about that Patreon. We're going to talk about that very, very soon. Right now, we're at the homepage of the YouTube channel, currently at 3.25 thousand subscribers, moving fast and trying to get to our goal of 10K. That's going to be the new plateau. We're reaching for the stars here. So continue to show that love and support. If you're already subscribed, continue to like and comment. That helps the YouTube algorithm. If you're not subscribed, join the community that we're building right now. It's phenomenal community that we're building right now, and join and hit that subscribe button right now. The comment section is going crazy. I asked you guys for some input about what we're going to do after the NBA slate. Well, did you want me to go to MLB bets, or did you want me to go into fantasy football? Because I can get in depth with that as well. But so far, as of right now, we got some time. All right, we got until literally the finals. But right now, so far, people are trending towards the MLB bets. All right, so I have no problem doing that as well. All right, for the Patreon, I'm going to be putting out my NBA Finals prediction very soon. So hop into that Patreon right now if you want the futures bet for the NBA, okay? Let's get into the slate. First game up on the Friday slate, we have the Miami Heat here, 42-34, going against the Houston Rockets, 38-37. That record's going to adjust because they're playing right now. So both of these teams here, second game of a back-to-back. So no rest for either Miami or Houston. This is the stretch run before we get to the playoffs here. The current line right now, we have Miami Heat as road favorites here on the money line, -120 with the get back of the Houston Rockets at a +100. Obviously, the point spread is a pick 'em, 1.5, and the total right now is at 214.5. So public bet percentage here, we have 54% of the bets and 63% of the money towards the Heat. For the point spread, we have 58% of the bets and 61% of the money towards Heat to cover. And then for the total, we have 90% of the bets and 93% of the money towards the over 214.5. For the injury report, same guys have been out, will be out for this game as well. Tyler Hero, Josh Richardson, same thing going with Houston Rockets. All these guys are out for the year. All right. These two teams have already played once, and that was in January. That was a high-scoring environment there. 233. That was the total, and that was a 7-point win by Miami. As you can see, Miami just lost to Philadelphia, so that came through. That bet came through. I had the 76ers in that one, and that you saw in the previous video. And in the Houston Rockets, they're currently losing to the Golden State Warriors. That was a crucial game, and that leads me to where I'm going to be leaning towards. That was like a dagger in the heart. The Houston Rockets needed that game. Absolutely needed that game against the Golden State Warriors. If we're looking at the current score right now, they're down by 23. So the game's over. So that heartbreaking loss there, and it puts them in a spot where they're like 4.5 games back with 6 games left. It's kind of impossible. So with that out, that aspect out, and Miami Heat having more motivation. They just lost to Philly. They're trying to maintain their number 6 spot, but the 76ers and the Pacers are right on them. This is a must-win game here for the Miami Heat. We're going to go sweep across the board. Miami Heat money line. Obviously, I like Miami Heat to cover that 1.5. If we lose by 1 point, let it be. But just take the money line. Take the money line. Miami Heat money line, and we're going to go with the over 214.5, all right? Miami Heat is going to be able to put up points. They're back and healthy with all their guys, and the Houston Rockets play better at home. So I expect a little bit more of a competitive game, but I still think Miami ekes this out. This is a must-win game so they can stay at that 6th spot. Next game up, we have the New York Knicks here, 45-31, going up against the Chicago Bulls, 36-40. Look at the current odds right now. The New York Knicks, this is the second game of back-to-back. They just beat the Sacramento Kings. Phenomenal win, comeback win there. They are underdogs, all right? Road dogs here in the second game of back-to-back. Bulls, you can get them on the money line at a -120 with the point spread at a 1.5. This is a pick'em game here, and then the over-under is set at 211.5. Okay. For these two teams here, the public bet percentage, 67% of the bets, but 67% of the bets towards the Bulls, 57% of the money towards the Knicks. For the point spread, 67% of the bets and 64% of the money towards the Knicks to cover the spread. And for the total, 93% of the bets and 96% of the money towards the over 211. All right. And the Knicks hit that over in that game against Sacramento. So that was a positive sign to see from the Knicks, really enforcing their scoring and their will on that team and blowing them out late in that game. For the injury report, same guys are out for the New York Knicks. OG Anunoby is going to be out for a while. And Dwayne Washington and Charlie Brown are going to be out as well. They're non-factors. They didn't even come off the bench. For the Chicago Bulls, the only guy we need to worry about is Torrey Craig. He's currently probable for this game against the New York Knicks here. Now, these two teams have already played, and they got to face 3 more times in a very short window. The first game was a blowout win by the Knicks in New York. That total was 216. And now we're looking at this game here on April 5th. The key factor for this stretch run of games in the NBA is going to be looking at the standings. It's very important you pay attention of who needs the win, doesn't need the win. And that's why I'm just going to make my decision for this game. All right. Looking at the standings is very, very important. The Knicks are in a must-win situation. They are tied with the Orlando Magic, and you know that they won home field advantage in their first matchup in the playoffs over Orlando. So this is a must-win game. They cannot afford to lose. All right, so I like the Knicks in this game. And if you look down here, the Chicago Bulls, they're in the play-in. They already got that locked in. The Nets, everyone else below the Bulls and Hawks are already eliminated. We have the 76ers at 8. They're trying to ascend up. So 9 and 10 is solidified. They have nothing to play for. There's nothing for them to play for. But all to play for is going to be with the New York Knicks. So we're going to go with a full sweep here. Give me the New York Knicks on the money line. If you want to take the +1.5, go be fine. Be my guest. You can take that if you want. Just give me the win for the Knicks. Hey, 1 point, you might as well take it anyway. And for the total, give me the over 211.5. It's the dire straits here where they're going to be more aggressive. We saw it with the New York Knicks last night against Sacramento, how the offense was flowing. I think that's going to come through again, and they're going to beat the Chicago Bulls. But that's a very low total there with 211, especially with the first game being at 216. We're getting a little bit of leeway here. I believe they can do that yet again. Next game we have up the Orlando Magic here, 45-31, going up against the Charlotte Hornets here, 18-58. Looking at the line, we got double-digit road favorites here in Orlando Magic on the money line, -650, with the get back of the Charlotte Hornets at a +475. For the point spread, it is 11.5 on both sides, with the total at 204.5. So very short total here. Public bet percentage, 87% of the bets and 66% of the money towards the Magic. For the point spread, it's split down the middle with the bets, but the money is 55% towards the Charlotte Hornets to cover. And for the total, 92% of the bets and 94% of the money towards the over 204.5. For the Orlando Magic, they have a full bill of health. For the Charlotte Hornets here, they're bringing back everybody, all right? You see all these guys in the injury list, they're all playing. Brandon Miller, probable. Grant Williams, probable. Vasily Micic, probable. Miles Bridges is back, probable. So they're going to be coming here, and they're probably going to play hard. This is an in-division matchup here. This is a team in the Charlotte Hornets that pretty much the season was over from the beginning of the year, so they don't care. They really don't care. If they want to ruin the seeding for the Orlando Magic, they will if they want to. All right, and we have a little revenge narrative here. We have the Hornets here losing 3 times already to these Orlando Magic. The first total was 247, the second was 190, and the third was 204. So very low totals here besides that first matchup. That makes you consider this under. This is they correctly priced this total here at 204.5. But I'm going to be leaning towards the over, just because I think they can get there. Just because we got everybody coming back with Bridges, Miller, Vasily, and Grant Williams. I like that for the Charlotte Hornets to put up some points. I feel like they're going to need to outscore Orlando. I can't trust the Charlotte Hornets on D. Their main two defenders really is just Brandon Miller and Grant Williams, essentially. So they're going to have to outscore Orlando in this particular game, but they're going to be highly motivated here. So give me the points at home. I'll take the Charlotte Hornets with 11.5 on the point spread. I do foresee Orlando to win this game ultimately, but there's no value in that minus 650. I'll play the point game here. Give me the plus 11.5 there. And just for some numbers, as home dogs, the Charlotte Hornets are 17-16 against the spread. So we're going to be playing over 500 numbers there. We're going to be rocking with the plus 11.5 and the over 204. Next game up, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder here, 52-24. Going to be against the Indianapolis Pacers here, 43-34. Looking at the current odds, we have the Pacers at home as favorites at a minus 190 with the comeback of the OKC Thunder at plus 155. The current point spread is at a 4.5, and the total is set at 235.5. All right. For the public bet percentage, we have 79% of the bets and 82% of the money towards the Pacers to win this game. For the point spread, we have 64% of the bets, 65% of the money towards the Thunder to cover. And for the total, we have 68% of the bets and 68% of the money towards the over 235.5. So people a little unsure about that total there. Usually it's swayed one way or the other. This one's closer to the middle. All right. For the injury report, Thunder, they're going to be without SGA and they're going to be without Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams is doubtful. All right. This is a team here in the Thunder that are solidified at that 3 spot. We'll look at the standings real soon, but let's continue with the injury report. Pacers right now for injuries. Miles Turner is currently questionable. We're waiting on news for him. That's why I provided that link down below for RotoWire so you can stay up to date with injury news. For the regular season, these two teams have already played in March 12th, and that was a 10-point win by the Pacers. That total was 232, a high total there. But if we're looking at the Thunder without SGA, without Jalen Williams, they scored 100 against Boston, 105 against Philadelphia. All right, so that makes me a little concerned here. Obviously, they're without their floor general and then their next best scorer in Jalen Williams. That's why it's going to make me lean toward this under 235. Even the first matchup went under. It was at 232. Now they set it up above that. We're going with the under here. Love the under in this game. I'm telling you this right now. Love the under 235. I'm writing this down. 235.5 under. I'm gonna remember that, and I'm definitely betting that singly. All right. For who's gonna win, let's look at these standings so I can show you. We have the Pacers. This is a must-win game here. Pacers are at the 6th seed. They have the Miami Heat and the 76ers on their heels. 76ers just had a big win against Miami. So Pacers need to stay and keep pace and make sure they solidify themselves with that 6th spot. So definitely motivation for them. And then you see OKC Thunder, they already clinched the spot. All right. They don't have to worry about the Clippers. That's the 4.5 game difference, and they probably have the tiebreaker there. So they don't want to move up. They don't need to. Whatever, let the chips how they fall, let them fall between the 6, 7, and 8 seed in the Western Conference. You can't really gauge which one's going to be which, so you stay where you are at the top, and that's why we're going with the Pacers money line. Pacers to cover the spread at 4.5 and the under 235. Next game up, we have the Sacramento Kings here, who just lost to the New York Knicks. They're 44-32. Now they're going to have another Atlantic Division mate here in the Boston Celtics, who are 60-16. Looking at the current odds right now, the Celtics are home favorites here at minus 350 on the money line, with the Kings on the get back at a plus 275. Point spread is at an 8.5, and the total is at 223.5. For the public bet percentage here, no data yet on the money line, but for the point spread, 74% of the bets and 77% of the money towards the Celtics. For the total points here, 91% of the bets and 98% of the money towards the over 223.5. For the Kings injury report, same guys are out for the year. Malik Monk out for the year. Kevin Huerter out for the year. For the Boston Celtics, we're waiting on news for Jaylen Brown and Derek White. They're both going to be questionable in this game here. I wanna hope for the Kings. I really do. These two teams have already played, and that was an absolute blowout match here. 263 was the total, and that was a domination by the Boston Celtics in Sacramento. Sacramento tends to play weird at home. They play weird at home. They supposed to play better on the road. They almost had the win with the Knicks. They controlled a large lead, but they gave it away. The Knicks, like I said, a grittier, grimier team came through. So now we have second game of back-to-back. This is pretty much a must-win game. If we're looking at the standings in the Western Conference for the Kings, they can move up for the 7 or 6 spot, and if not, they have the Lakers right behind them, trying to get that 8 spot as well. So this is a must-win situation. I want to lean the Sacramento Kings on that point line with plus 8.5. Hopefully the news comes out in favor for the Kings, and maybe Jaylen Brown and Derek White sit in this particular game environment. So I'm going to be leaning with the 8.5 just because of desperate. They're very, very desperate here. But I think the lock of this match here is the over. Give me the over 223.5. That's my favorite bet on this particular game. Let's move on to the next. Next game up, we have the Golden State Warriors, who are 42-34, going up against the Dallas Mavericks, 46-30. Must-win situation for both teams here. Looking at the odds, we have the Dallas Mavericks at a minus 225 as home favorites, with the comeback of the Golden State Warriors at a plus 180. The point spread right now is at a 5.5 on both sides, and the total is set at 228.5. All right, public bet percentage here, we have 75% of the bets towards Dallas, but 92% of the money towards Golden State. For the point spread, 72% of the bets and 74% of the money towards Golden State plus 5.5. And then we have for the total points, 75% of the bets and money towards the over 228.5. For the Golden State Warriors, we are waiting on news for Jonathan Kuminga. The Warriors just had a big win. What do you think? They just had a big win. Who do you think? Over the Houston Rockets. So they continue their win streak here. This should be a 6-game win streak for the Golden State Warriors. And they're going on a roll. There's a veteran team here for the Dallas Mavericks in that injury report. Josh Green is questionable. Derek Lively, he's going to be out for like 2 weeks. All right. So looking at the previous matchups for these two teams, so far the Mavericks lead the season series 2-1. All right. The first total was a big total, 254. But ever since then, these have been tightly close games and low scoring games at that. All right, we had a 208 in game 2 in March, and then we had a 204 in game 3 in April, which was a couple days ago. All right, so I expect a similar outcome here. I'm going to be taking the under. We're going to go against the public here with the total. Give me the under 228.5. We have 2 games at 208 and 204, well under that 228 total. These two teams, especially Golden State Warriors, they know how to play playoff defense. This is a must-win situation. If we're looking at standings for the Golden State Warriors, they still have Houston Rockets on the heels. They feel great that they got this win, but they also want to move ahead and make sure they have home field advantage against the Lakers in that play-in game. And they still have possibilities of creeping up to that 8 spot. So there's a lot of variations here where the Warriors and the Lakers can still move up. So this is a highly motivated spot here. Mavericks, hey, they don't want to lose either. They could lose and fall down to that 6th spot. It depends. Who do the Dallas Mavericks want to play? Would you rather face the Clippers, or would you rather face the OKC Thunder? This is where it comes in, and you're playing games here. So I'm going to go with the more solidified team here in the Golden State Warriors to play hard. Give me that plus 5.5. All right, give me the plus 5.5 and give me the under 228. Next game, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves here, 53-23, going up against the Phoenix Suns, 45-31. Looking at the current odds here, Suns are the home favorite here at a -150 on the money line, with the comeback of the Timberwolves at a +125. For the point spread, it is at 2.5 for the point spread, and the total is at 219.5 for the public bet percentage. 72% of the bets, 70% of the money towards the Suns on the money line. For the point spread, 66% of the bet, 65% of the money towards the Suns to cover. And for the total, 90% of the bets and 88% of the money towards the over 219.5. Minnesota Timberwolves still without Karl Anthony Towns. For the Suns, we are waiting on news about Yusuf Nurkic. He is currently questionable with a calf. And Grayson Allen, he'll be back. He is probable in this game. So they get their lethal three-point shooter back in this game. That's going to bode well for the Phoenix Suns. These two teams have already played earlier in the season. That was a blowout win by the Suns against the Minnesota Timberwolves there. And that total was 248 points in that game. And we had a current total here set at 219. So that's already making me lean towards the Phoenix Suns. Not to mention the fact that Devin Booker is on fire. He is trying to definitely solidify this team in their standings and try to move them up. Currently, the Phoenix Suns are the 6th seed. They're a game behind the Dallas Mavericks. They can certainly move up. They have enough time to move up to that 5 spot and maybe even creep close to that 4 spot as well and get some home field advantage as the number 4. So there's still enough time here. So we're going to be rolling with the Phoenix Suns in this if we're looking at the odds. Highly motivated spot right there for the Phoenix Suns. Timberwolves are already set at the top of the Western Conference. So give me the Suns on the money line. If you want to take that point spread, fine, be my guest. But I'll roll with the money line. Give me the win. And give me the over. I think there's going to be a ton of points in this one between the Suns and Timberwolves. Give me the over 219.5. Next game we have up is the Portland Trailblazers 20-56 going up against the Washington Wizards 15-62. So there's a bottom feeder matchup here. Looking at the current odds, we have the Wizards on the money line at -135 with the comeback of the Portland Trailblazers at a +110. The point spread is at a 2.5 and the total is at 220.5. All right, for the injury report right now, we're waiting on news from Matisse Thybulle. He's currently questionable. Anthony Simons is currently questionable, and Jeremy Grant is doubtful. Okay, for the Washington Wizards, where Kyle Kuzma is going to be out. Denny Avdija is questionable, and Rashawn Holmes is questionable. So big loss there, and Kyle Kuzma, one of their main scorers, the best scorer there. But Denny Avdija is very good. He's come on this season and been very, very impressive this year. These two teams have already played, and that was a 1-point win by the Washington Wizards in Portland. So a road win for Washington, and now Portland has the opportunity to get some revenge. Portland also coming off a big win against the Charlotte Hornets. That they came through with a lot of guys out for them. They came through and got that W against a bottom feeder team in the Charlotte Hornets. And then the Wizards on the other end, they lost to the LA Lakers by 5 points. All right. Who do we trust here? These are two bottom feeder teams here. If we're looking at some numbers as home favorites, the Washington Wizards are 2-5 against the spread. So that does not bode well for them. Obviously, who would trust the Washington Wizards? But on the other end, the Portland Trailblazers, they have a positive trend on the road. As away dogs, they're 20-18. So for this particular matchup here, I'm getting some positive news. Hopefully Anthony Simons can play in this game. I'll feel much better. But we're going to be going with the point spread here of the Portland Trailblazers. I cannot trust the Washington Wizards. Absolutely not. They're even worse than the Portland Trailblazers. So give me the +2.5 on Portland and give me the under 220.5. I understand that first game was a total of 235. But without some of their main contributors here for Washington, especially Kyle Kuzma, and if you're looking at some of these previous games between these two teams, we had some lower performances here, especially from Portland. If I think they're going to win and dictate pace, they've put up 89, 103, 82. So not very promising in the scoring department. They've been playing solid defense here. So we're going to go with the Portland Trailblazers +2.5 and the under 220. Next game up, we have another matchup between bottom feeders. Detroit Pistons here currently 13-63 going up against the Memphis Grizzlies, 26-50. Looking at the current odds on the money line, you can get the Detroit Pistons on the road as favorites at a -115 with a total at 210.5. It opened up at 202. It's been bought up to 210, and we have the spread here at a 1.5. This is a pick'em game here between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Detroit Pistons. For the injury report, the Pistons are going to be without Cade Cunningham. They're going to be without Simon Fontenecchio, and they're going to be without Quentin Grimes. So they're missing all those guys. But it's even worse for the Memphis Grizzlies. They're going to be without Vince Williams Jr. They're going to be without Santi Aldama. They're going to be without Brandon Clark. They're going to be without Jaren Jackson Jr. And they're going to be without Desmond Bane. So pretty much their heart and shoulder of the team is gone. A majority of the starters are gone. Memphis Grizzlies are starting up a whole bunch of backups against these Detroit Pistons here. That's why the Pistons are currently favored in this matchup. Looking at the regular season series, the Pistons have lost twice already to the Grizzlies. The first game was a total of 218. The second game was a total of 218. This is a revenge spot here for the Detroit Pistons. Those first two games were in Detroit. This last and final game is in Memphis. So a lot of people might be looking at this and like, hey, why are we not choosing the Memphis Grizzlies? If they're not paying attention, they're probably looking at their last two games. Oh, they just beat the Pistons already, and they just beat the Milwaukee Bucks. And they might be feeling themselves, and hey, they're going to beat them again. No, we're going to be rolling with the Detroit Pistons in this one. I feel confident in them that they can come through with this win. This is a double revenge spot. They already lost to this team twice. They just faced them, so they know what to expect. And they're missing their heart and soul of the team. Jaren Jackson out, Desmond Bane out. They're really seeing backups upon backups. Detroit Pistons with Jaden Ivey, with Jalen Duren, they should get things done here. I'll take them on the money line, and with the total set at 210, I want to grab it right now before it gets higher because it already started at 202. That was a perfect number there, but give me that over 210. We had both of these matchups at 218 in those first two games. I'll take the over. Next game, we have the Toronto Raptors, who are currently 23-53, going up against the Milwaukee Bucks, who are 47-29. Looking at the current odds here, we have big home favorites here in the Milwaukee Bucks at a -3,000 on the money line, with the comeback of the Toronto Raptors at a +1,300. For the total here, we have it set at 225.5, and the spread has been bumped down from 17.5 to 16.5. For the injury report of the Toronto Raptors, we have questionable marks on Bruce Brown, Gary Trent Jr., and Ochai Agbaji. All those guys are questionable. R.J. Barrett is probable, and Kelly Olynyk is probable. For the Milwaukee Bucks, Pat Bev questionable, Giannis questionable, and Damian Lillard questionable. We need to wait on news for the Milwaukee Bucks. I need to know about Giannis, and I need to know about Damian Lillard before hopping on this. I think probably the best play would be taking in the points. I get it. The Raptors have been horrible, absolutely horrible, blown out by almost 50. About 50 against Minnesota. Lakers was a 17-point blowout. Philly was a 15-point blowout. Knicks was 30-point. Wait on news for the Milwaukee Bucks. All right, I'm not gonna say give me the points of the Raptors. What I'm gonna say here is wait on news for the Milwaukee Bucks. Number one, I need Giannis and Lillard to be in this game, but I think the public is going to try to hop on. I'm very curious if they're hopping on this spread at +16.5. I don't know what the projections are of what the percentages on people on the points of the Toronto Raptors. I'm very curious if it's over 50%. But as of right now, wait on news for the Milwaukee Bucks. If Giannis and Lillard are back in, I'm going to feel confident for them to finally bounce back and cover a spread. I'll give out the 9.5, but the Bucks have been struggling last 4 out of 5 games, losses. They need to get things right. This is a home game here against a poor team in the Raptors, and everyone's been beating them by double digits easily. So I want to wait on news, and then I'm going to consider the cover of the Bucks. if Lillard and Giannis are playing, but stay tuned to news. This one is to be determined, okay? Next game up, we have the San Antonio Spurs going up against the New Orleans Pelicans. Spurs are 18-58, going up against the Pelicans 45-30. Looking at the current odds right now, we have the New Orleans Pelicans as big favorites here, minus